Here are the colors we're going to be using today. So just yellow, red, and a blue. So not everybody might not have, these specific brand of colors, but just get a red, yellow, and blue. Some water, just one brush, right? And if you don't have a palette, you can go ahead and grab just a porcelain plate or a plate. It's easy way to create. It doesn't absorb. The palette is, it can be a plastic plate, it can be a porcelain plate. Any plate, just something you can move it around. A paper plate won't work because it will absorb. This kind of stays up top. And just a piece of paper, or watercolor paper preferably. This is just a small little sheet. So you see the size of my hand here, a little bigger than my hand, nothing too big. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and just start with my blue. I'll start with my blue. Grab my blue, put a little blue right here, just a tiny bit up top right here. And then I'm going to just start with that, right? Grab my brush, grab a little water. Go ahead and mix that in. I believe this is a cobalt blue, but any blue will do. Whatever little color pans that you got will work just perfectly. Mix it up, make sure that you fill that brush up. I'm going to go ahead and lay down this wash, loading my brush up, and just doing every single time. I'm not going to be overworking it. I'm just going to be starting from the top and making my way down to the bottom. So right here. Now I want to work quickly, so I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my red, put a little bit of red down. And if it mixes, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and just put that right there. I'm going to actually have it at an angle, use my tape to put my board at an angle here. And I'm just going to go all the way down here. We just put a couple little streaks here so you can see that coming down. Grab a little water. And I'm just doing a flat wash right now, right? Very simple flat wash, working quickly, okay? Now I'm going to go and put some yellow. Put some yellow down. Load it up. And go ahead and just kind of mix in a little bit as it goes down toward the bottom. A little water. Let it absorb right here. And that's our first step. Very simple. Like I said, I'm just using my 3 primaries, yellow, red, and blue. And I'm just laying it down from the top and working my way down to the bottom. Again, this is my little sketch right here. This is just on a little Post-it notes. A couple of palm trees, making these our darker areas. This is going to be the sun area, right in that area. I'm going to go ahead and put that in using a little bit more pigment. This demo shouldn't take more than 30 minutes or so. So again, it shouldn't take you that long. The more you paint, of course, the faster you will be able to lay this down. But in general, it shouldn't take you a long time. The longer you take on this step, the more trouble you get into. Since watercolor tends to dry, you'll get blooms. It'll kind of break up and not give yourself a nice flat wash. So this is just my initial step here. I'm gonna let that dry for a few seconds, for a few minutes here. And again, just your basic colors, right? I just have it on a little plate here. Nothing fancy. You probably have this stuff at home. And again, here is my little thumbnail here. That is the plan for today. I'm gonna go ahead and blow dry this really quick. I'll be right back. All right. Now, if you don't have a blow dryer handy, you can just let it dry. Just kind of step away for a few minutes, 5 minutes or so, come back, and it should be nice and dry. So again, the next step here is you want to use the back of your hand, make sure it's dry. And what I'm going to do now is put a little bit, I'm going to put the palm trees in here. I'm going to start with my darker tones. Again, just 2 steps. You have your background. Now I'm just in my middle ground. If you see right there, you see my sketch of what I'm planning to do here. So very simple. I'm going to go ahead and create a purple. And I'm going to use my blue and my red. And almost fairly thick here. I'm going to go really create less water, more pigment, right? And I'm going to go ahead and just start with the color palm trees. And you can try this at home, just 3 basic colors. Let's see, palm tree, I'm going to put one right here. And start, I'm going to notice how I'm holding my brush. Nice at the very end of the brush here, and using the tip to create this kind of palm tree shape. Right, and I'm just creating a shape. I'm not trying to get the perfect palm tree. It's not a black. I'm not creating a black. I'm using a purple, right? And I'm trying to create a shape, but not necessarily a palm tree. That's the best. That's the easiest way to describe how I'm painting this. I'm going to start with, and then we have the trunk here. It's going to be thicker, and as it goes down, I'm just going to lightly just kind of press it down, go smaller here, and boom, right there. So that's my first one, my big tall one. I can continue to mess with it a little bit, just kind of create this sense of limbs of the palm tree. Grab a little bit more paint, and I'm going to make another one right here. Again, notice how I'm just kind of using the tip of the brush, and you can practice. I mean, practice on a sketchbook, on a scrap piece of paper, and just practice your trees, your palm trees, right? And if you're lucky enough to be looking out your window and have some palm trees there in front of you, then look at those, right? Look at those and sketch those out. I'm going to grab a little bit more blue since I'm using pretty much pure pigment here and tube pigment, and so I'm just going right out of the tube, fresh paint, and so I tend to use a lot more of it. So I'm going to go ahead versus a pan paint you might have at your house. So again, if the paint is dry, you use less of it. If it's fresh, you use more of it. So there's another one there. I'm going to go ahead and maybe put one a little closer together here and kind of come up here like that, right there. Put my last little palm tree here. Again, at this point, I am using less water and more pigment. Right there. And just this little almost like braids, hair braids of sort, right? There we go, it's like that. And so create a sense of dark area down here. You don't have to mix it all the way. So again, you can see some of the blue kind of coming through. Have a little more red. Use the tip of the brush, and I'm just going to be just pushing this over, so you can see that. Pushing this up here, I go down here. We're just using the edge of the brush, just going across. Maybe a little grasses or something going on here. Using the tip of the brush, like I said, to push up, just creating a sense of contrast, right? So, and I'm using just those 2 colors, or those 3 colors, but for this, I'm using 2 colors, my red and my blue. Whichever those blues or that red might be, it doesn't matter. It creates a purple, and again, you're using less water and more pigment. All right, so we have that. We have our 2 palm trees. We have, and even though I put the sun over here, we can put a little bit more color on there. But it's about that simple wash, right? Just practicing that wet into wet, that blue, that red into that yellow, and then creating my palm trees with just using my red and my blue to create a contrasting shape and value. You don't have to put more in it. That could be it. This is a beautiful painting already by itself. Practice these basic techniques using those 3 colors, and you'll be surprised how many kind of colors you can create with this, because you can create an orange with your red and your yellow. You can create a purple with your red and your blue, and you can create a green with your yellow and your blue. So again, with these three colors, you can create three more colors with your primaries. So it's a very versatile and a great way to paint. You don't need to have every single color in the rainbow. You can create it. You can make them. All right, so I'm just gonna let this dry a little bit. Quick painting here, you know, nothing fancy, just having fun on a beautiful day today. I'm gonna grab a little bit more yellow in here and just lightly just maybe put something here, maybe just a little bit of some sort of reflection or water or something here. Again, it doesn't really matter. You know, use your imagination, have fun first and foremost. You know, this, you know, in a real world, I will let this dry. See, it's kind of bleeding together. That's fine, whatever. Don't let those small little things deter you from painting and from the process. Like that. There we go, like that. Look at that. All right, I'm gonna finish up with a couple little cacaws or birds, right? And again, this painting maybe no more than 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the most. Most of the time is really watching paint dry. That's really the longest time here. So I'm gonna go ahead, and these trees are still pretty wet, so I'm gonna mess with them. Put some birds up here, some cacaws, right there. You know, don't make them too big. Smaller ones, some little movement in the sky. They're just little check marks. And that is it. Very simple and easy. Now, I know I make it easy. I do this a lot. At this point, the paper is, you know, the wetter areas are here. So you would actually have this dry a little bit. What I'm going to do now is take the tape off. And the tape is great because it keeps your paper nice and flat, because it will buckle, right? And then once it dries completely, it will dry flat with the tape. But number two is that it gives you a nice white border. So as I'm taking this tape off here, you notice that you'll have this nice white border, which really, to me, kind of creates a little bit of like a frame for your painting. And this is just, you can use Scotch tape, you can use whatever tape you might have at your house. But that is it. A quick little sunset scene. Again, no more than 15, 20 minutes. And all you need is your three primary colors, your yellow, your red, and your blue. One brush. You can have, and preferably a round brush for the fact that you can use the tip for details, and then you can use the belly of the brush for the big wet to wet. And again, don't paint any larger, don't paint any smaller than your hand. So, you know, this is a little bit larger than my hand, so that is a good size to paint on. Don't grab a huge sheet, just a nice medium-sized sheet, all right? All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again. I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are doing well.